how the F do you do you grow your prices without losing your soul? We're gonna talk about this with these two masters of the universe.
Thank you for having us, Fair, if we're not for editing.
So who are you guys, and why are you making this big movement, and people are like joining your Facebook group, and we want the piece of gold that you want to give us?
Yeah, why, right, James? Why? I mean, honestly, because I think in many ways we've been surprised by it as well, how it's all worked out. And we've come a long way in this journey, you know, as artists, as wedding photographers, as people. We've suffered for our art. We were struggling artists for many years. We understand that. And the last few years, somehow there's a bunch of things we've learned that's just really worked. And all of a sudden we find ourselves living ideal lives, the lives we want to live. And we'd love to just share this with other people, man. Like we're looking at it and going like, man, if we can do it, seriously,
anybody
you can do it. And that's why we're doing it. It's been really neat. So we started the Facebook group last year, and just watching this community and people already kind of having these aha moments, you know, it's been neat. Anyway, James.
Yeah. So we are James and Schultze. I'm the James. He's the Schultze. We've been a business, a photography company for what, 8 years together. Yeah. Previous to that, we were on our own.
Competition.
Separate companies completely, and we'd met in Colorado and just helped each other out over the years. Like you do as a photographer. And it just, every time we did that, it was like, oh my goodness, this creative freedom that we have, this trust that we have in the other person, and it eventually became a dance. And we just like said, let's do this. Let's just do this together.
Yeah.
You know, and 8 years later, we've decided to, like Otto was saying, we've decided to give back to, I mean, we were both mentored through this process and taught by people. We didn't, you know, this is not something we've just learned all on our own. And we just decided that we want to give back to this community. And so we started this online education platform called Sage. And as you mentioned, our Facebook is the Business of Luxury Weddings, where we're really talking about all things luxury weddings.
Yeah. So, all of it.
Yeah. But specifically around business, right? Like we talk a little bit about photography, but this group is really about like, how do you become a better business person? How do you explore the creativity that is found in business? Because that's one of the misconceptions about from photographers is like the photography is the creative part and the business is just the grind that you hate. But we found that to not be the case.
No, and James, like that was my experience for many years. I was like the artist with a free and open mind, and then I had to run a business. It was this other mind that I didn't know where it was. There was conflict the whole time. And when we came into partnership here, me and James, and we used to be main competitors to one another actually, but in partnership, the business actually became the most creative part, even more than shooting. So yeah, 100% what he just said.
Wow. And what gave you the confidence to say, okay, we're in this phase, like we are okay with the numbers, and then okay, let's multiply by 2,000. You know, like what happened there? You know, what was like, you saw that like other wedding photographers doing it, or you saw like creative, like painters, that they have their agents, and like the value doesn't come from them, it comes from the demand, or what was that switch for you guys?
Yeah, all of that, huh? I'll just say this before. Yeah, go ahead, James. Go ahead.
We do this all the time. Yeah, I think Otto and I's personality, both of us, you know, we're both athletes in a previous life, in high school and in college. And so I think we're driven to like feel like we're climbing the top of the mountain. We're leading, we're winning. And so our personalities are such that you go, okay, I'm in this. How do I get to the top of this? And then you start going, well, you know, the more you get paid, that's one metric, one way of measuring, like, how well am I doing? And then with our personalities, we both like to take risk. So we're like, okay, I think we did this individually before we became James and Schultze. We were saying, okay, I'm charging 3,000. I'm going to move to 5,000 and see. Am I still busy? Yeah, I got busy again. Like, what if I go to 7,000? Still busy, still booking. What if I go to 12,000? What if we go to, and then we join forces, you know, and now we're like, well, what if we go to 50,000 and we're still booking weddings? So that's kind of the mindset, I think, and the trajectory and the process that we've gone through in raising our prices. I mean, there's lots of in between there as well, but
Lots, yeah.
lots of detail that I'm leaving out. But
Yeah, and fair, just to mindset, like one of the big switches for us was at some point just realizing for the luxury client, it's all relative. Like it's just another stratosphere of spending, right? We did this example in our Facebook group. We said, look, who has a white t-shirt?
Yeah,
How
I
much is your
remember
white?
it.
Yeah, how much is your white t-shirt? It's $30. I could go to the Prada website and Google white t-shirt, and it was $1,300. And we're just saying, we had a moment where you realize the real pursuit for us with these weddings were initially not money. We both have lots of kids. We do need money. but the initial pursuit was the truly exceptional events. Because what I noticed before we came together, we were already serving high-end weddings. And what I noticed was the nicer the weddings were, my work looked better. So I was like, wait a minute, there's a correlation here. And it was better design, better content, right? Produce better work. And so initially the real move was better work. We just wanted to produce exceptional work. But when you want to produce exceptional, when you step into that space, the people that are willing to spend that money, you have to come in at a valuation, right? You can't come in low or you can't play. And so we knew this, but when we as James and Schulze came to the market first with our initial starting point, the market for the most part said, no, man, you're crazy. And so, like he said, it took us a few years where we had to create that value in the market. And then the amazing thing happens, Fair. Like, well, I used to think, oh, okay, the market can maybe afford 2 or 3 big events a year where you can get paid $40,000, $50,000 plus a photographer, but not consistently. Consistently, you have to come down. And what we've found now is, no, that high-end market, you can shoot 40 plus weddings a year at those rates. And there's still more work for everybody. And so it's just been we come from normal upbringings. We weren't wealthy. And so for us, that's how we look at money. When you want something, you go, can I afford to buy it? And now that we've worked with people that have so much money, they don't have to do with it for so long, we realize there's just no limits to this. Like it's open, you know?
Yeah. When I was struck by what you said, Otto, like the mindset and the creativity that we talked about previously. It's you know, if you're going to jump your price, whatever it might be, to sit down and think, well, how am I going to do that? Like, what do I need to do in my business to get people to pay me that?
Yeah.
It's like being a photographer. The first time you see a really shallow depth of field image, you're like, whoa, like, oh, I see. How do you do that? And so you start digging into like lenses and optics and understanding f-stops, and you go, oh, I get it, right? That creativity starts to go, now how do I use that? For, you know, it's the same thing in business. We were figuring out, okay, maybe it's branding. Let's look at branding. How do I change? How can I get creative? What can we do around branding to command a different price? And that's, I think, where that kind of take it full circle back to the creativity of business. That's where we get excited as well. I mean, photography, we still get excited, obviously, but it's not that new, like, we know how to use that tool. How to use these business tools to demand and command a higher price. Yeah, it's fun.
But and for you, how did you kill your evil twin? You know, like the old dude that, you know, oh, things are working out. You know, 8K, 10K, it's amazing. You know,
I tell you how, man. You poison him slowly.
Oh, okay,
The evil twin doesn't die quickly, man. my evil twin, it's taken like 18 years to die. It only passed away like 2 years ago. It is hard. It is hard, but that's that thing that we talk about a lot. We're saying, remember to your evil twin, you are not your client. The way you look at spending and money and value is not the way they look at it. It's not a problem for them. It's a problem for you. Don't make it a problem. For them, the only thing is story. Do they want what you have? Right? And this talks about, one of you brought up earlier about where do you put the value, right? It was one of the big shifts for us, even before we came together. It's like, it used to be back in the day, we all know this, we've been around a long time, we're old, right? WAP packages, mega packages, Pictage credits and albums and unlimited, and like just stack, because the value was on, I'll give you more stuff, and then the rate goes up. And then we had a mind flip. We went, no, wait a minute. To your point about artistry, the value is on the artist. We're going to put all the value there. So you want me to come and shoot your wedding? Well, for me to come and shoot your wedding, it's this much. You want an album? That's additional. But the value is on me. You want more stuff? That's a different transaction. And I think that started changing our minds to where you go, because when somebody has Picasso come and paint their portrait, what are they valuing? The paint, the canvas? That's Picasso. Paying for Picasso.
The name. Yeah, the name.
The name. And it is a ludicrous value and valuation, but this is a different world people live in, right? They're collecting art for hundreds of millions of dollars, putting so much value in something, saying a piece of canvas with paint on it, it's worth. So it's just a different stratosphere than what we grew up in, live in.
The other part of it, to your question of like, well, how do you like increase your price? You have to believe in yourself, and that's a hard thing to do. It takes time. You go to today. Yesterday, I was $2,000 to photograph a wedding, and today I'm $4,000.
Yeah.
What changed? Right? Nothing changed. I changed the first number, from a 2 to a 4. That's the only thing that changed. And so you have to kind of sit with that number and sit with that idea and start to tell people, fair, I charge $4,000 for a wedding, or I charge $15,000, whatever that number is, until you believe, because we say it all the time.
Yeah.
Until you believe it, you cannot sell it. And so if you're constantly apologizing, like, oh, I know it's a lot, I'm so sorry, like, you just can't sell your artistry to this whole point of being an artist. You have to believe it. And doing what, I think there's lots of ways to do that, right? Whether that's becoming, getting accolades and being recognized. You were the rising star in PDN.
Oh yeah.
Huge. I mean, but that kind of thing is like adds belief, not only to you, but to your whole audience. So just keep finding and just keep building that credibility and that belief in yourself.
And for you guys, what do you think has been like the biggest sacrifice? So I kill my evil twin. I start to believe. Like, what was there like a big gap of like, okay, I want to be Superman. I know my superpowers. And now I need like villains to go and attack. What was that strategy to find those guys, and so they can open the door as well?
I mean, this is maybe two questions. The second one sounds like outreach question, right? You're asking, how did we do that? Or just clarify the question for me. I'm not sure I'm understanding.
Yeah. So when you believe in yourself, now, how do you find people who want your service? So you go to New York, you go to see all these crazy galleries and fashions, and hey, I want my name to be there, but maybe I cannot have a studio at Fifth Avenue. How was that transition? Okay, I need a luxury brand. How do I get to people to understand that my brand is luxurious?
Yeah, and honestly, it's like you see somebody who used to be really heavy or big, right? And they've lost a lot of weight. And you ask them, oh, how did you do it? As if there's just one thing. And the answer is many things over time, right? I mean, slowly but surely layering on the influence and the associations. And just keep. So what we did when we started James and Schulze, we just started flying to major cities, New York, LA, Texas, Dallas, and we'd go have meetings with top planners for 2-3 days, right? Email them, set the meetings. I mean, we did that many different ways, right? And most of those initially didn't result in any work, right? But it was this process of going, touch point number one is reaching out, getting the call, getting the meeting. That's touch point number two. Now we meet and we connect, right? Now my name is in their circle. Now I touch everybody else in their circle for the next 2-3 years. I reach out and they start talking. Oh, I just had lunch with Otto and James, right? I just saw they posted this. And you just keep going. You just keep, you push into that circle. And initially you're on the outside of the door, kind of like knocking. But at some point somebody opens and you can slip in, and then and then
yeah, and I just to jump in there on that, Otto, because I hear you say, like, here's the process, and kind of to your point, Fair, of what are the villains, right? You decide, okay, I want to reach out to top planners all over the world. Well, that's easier said than done, right? You can write them, but actually getting a response and actually getting a meeting is another thing. So then you have to sit down and go, okay, like, I wrote a bunch of people, nobody wrote me back. Why?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe it's the way you wrote the email. Or maybe they came and looked at your portfolio and went, I don't think so. Or maybe your brand isn't a luxury brand. And they're like, yeah, that's not the type of brand I want to. So you start to pull things apart and look at it and go, no, that piece is not right. I got to change that piece. I got to get a better brand. I go hire a designer.
Yeah.
Right. And we've done this so much of going out and getting educated in all the areas that we don't know, which is most of business. We know photography, and that's what most photographers get educated on. It's like, how do I become a better photographer?
Yeah.
But we hired copywriters and brand messengers. Like, how do we better present ourselves in words? Well, and why is that important? We hired a designer. Like, we want you to design us a luxury brand. And so it's an investment in time and money and energy and creativity, but man, it's fun and it's so worth it.
Nice. And in the workshop that you're offering, that's you help people like peel the layers to get there, right? To get there like faster than you did.
Yeah, I mean, what it is, it's a course, right? It's a 76 lesson course, and it's all of our systems. Everything we did, everything we still do, from marketing to branding to sales to outreach to accounting to all of it. Everything we did today still, all of it in a system. We talk through all of our thinking, it's the whole thing. Which I think for me, if I had gotten a system like this, a complete system 15 years ago, man, it could have saved a lot of time. Because the questions you're asking, we're saying is like, we are not our clients. We don't know what to do. How do I approach luxury? I don't know. How do I talk to a luxury planner? I don't know. Where are they? I don't know. What do they want? I don't know, But now we've started figuring that out a bit, and we're going, well, here's what, here's how. Try it.
And I think there's always been a marketplace to offer like the how to get from here to here, but usually they're not photographers. Or they're amazing at business, but you see their portfolio is like, dude, no. So I think you're like the best mix of that. Like you know how to create amazing images, and then from your images get to that place, the paradise, no?
And maybe say there's maybe a point to talk about the images and the work a little bit, because I know with the luxury market, there's a common misconception is, I don't want to go after luxury clients because they're difficult, they're demanding, they're brats. Our experience, honestly, in the past, total 15 years of shooting luxury, and especially the last 8 years to get there, is the exact opposite. Obviously, there's jerks everywhere with money and no money. But 95% of our clients, 98% of our clients are just honestly amazing. Cool, kind, well-read, well-traveled, interesting people, very appreciative. great collaborators, good clients to have, like really, and the families too. There's this horribleness that people think the Kardashians.
Mm-hmm.
We've had this once,
Mm.
and really once in 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
So just saying.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that the big difference, at least in my experience, is a level of trust. Like when you're charging 3,000 and their wedding is 20,000, they're pouring an awful lot of money into you, and they're trying to squeeze every piece of value out of you and try to control. Like, I want to make sure I get this, this, and this. But at the I found at the luxury level, it's really more about, hey, I'm used to hiring interior designers and landscape artists and I hire people for a living. I mean, this is what I do in my life, is hire people that I trust to do an amazing job. And I say, here's what I want, and you go create it.
Yeah.
And that level of trust has been really eye-opening and refreshing for us.
Yeah. As
We're not
artists.
handheld.
No, but as artists, right? Like, and to the point earlier, you said something, your friends who've gone into luxury now said, no more art, just shoot it like this. There is an element to that. There's a right and wrong to that. The planners are also our clients, so we take care of them. But there is a way to find a flow between both. And we found that with James and Schultze, where it's like, okay, I'm covering an event. I'm covering my creative partners and my clients, the wedding, family photos, details. But I'm also hunting and taking risks and looking for toes and, you know what I mean? Fizz bonds, right? Is that how you say it?
Yeah. So for you, most of the time you think you're like photographing for yourselves, or you have to be thinking about these wedding features and these wedding blogs and magazines, so you get a broader audience, or with that kind of market, it's more like word of mouth and that's it.
Yeah. I mean, go ahead, James.
No, yeah. I was going to say, when we started James and Schultze, we really actually decided, hey, we're going to turn this whole philosophy around. For so long, this was about us and about our work. And we decided, you know what, we're going to make this about the client. Let's dig into their story. Who are they? What do they want? How do they want this story told? What's important? Is it their friends and family and like those deep connections? Like, understand that and go after that. Or is it the fashion? Like, I just love fashion. I've grown up loving fashion, and go after like more of a really fashion forward approach, which now makes our job, man, it's so much fun, because every time we turn around, we're doing it differently.
Yeah.
Using the tools that we have in our toolbox to create a story and imagery that is unique to this person. We really treat it like maybe an advertising brief, right? You go and say, what is the story you want told? Well, here it is. Yeah. And we're going to do it in this way and this way and this way. And it's become a lot of fun. And yes, it's also a wedding. We don't turn our weddings into photo shoots for the most part. I mean, there's a time for that, but it's usually 30, 40 minutes. Otherwise, we're really going after the story that the client wants told.
Yeah, and fair that there's no shooting for magazines or editorials, because here's another important distinction. I think that's more for middle market that's appealing. The luxury bride does not look there. They ask. It's just referrals, right? And most of them have assigned NDAs, and the work can't be shown anyway. And so the importance of this, like we shoot for two entities really. Number one, for the client. That's the number one. And then number two is our creative partners, the designer, the planner, and taking care of them. But that's easy to do, right? And then that's our assignment, though. That's our confines. That's our bounds, right? And within those bounds, now Otto can get weird, and James can get weird, and fair can be fair, right? But I think when the past would be like James said, I was like 90% about Otto and 10% clients, like images. I want to just make images, show me stuff. Now we're going, yes, but how does this specific client, what was their brief? Because it's a luxury client. The mom and dad is a billionaire, right? The bride is just a regular young lady. She's not fancy necessarily. So if you come in and you go, this is a luxury client, flashy, and you approach this shy little girl like that, you're going to miss. But now we do the call, or we get to know them. We go, oh, this is how for you,
No.
you know, and it's a lot of fun.
And you said something that resonates, and that we have to work a lot in that. Like you see all like planners, florists as partners, and here a lot of times we see them as a, come on, dude, let me do my job, you know, because maybe you're capturing a beautiful moment, and the planner's telling you, hey, go capture details, and you're like, that doesn't matter, this matters. And so there's a struggle between like the final output, like to tell a story or to do the editorial. So do you work most of the weddings together, or like do you split in that, guys?
No, so the two of us are only shooting together now. That's our gift to ourselves. That's what we love doing. That's where we're best. And honestly, that's what we built the brand on as well. So that's what a lot of people want. And yeah, and that's the play.
And that does allow for a lot of creative freedom, like
a lot.
Where and it's turned into this dance, like I said before, where, you know, I might be just covering the wedding because mom wants that certain photo of, you know, bride coming down the aisle, or whatever it is. Maybe it's more traditional, where Otto's off creating, like, you know, shooting through something in the bushes, or, you know, whatever the weirdness he's gonna do. But he knows, like, oh, based on the camera I have, where I am in the room, he knows that James is covering the wedding, and then vice versa. We have this dance back and forth. I mean, I love creating portraits, so I get to just like wander around a cocktail hour while he's covering it or shooting the details. Like, I just get to pull people out. Like, who's this? Who's Uncle Eddie over in the corner? Let's, you know, he's got the floral shirt on and looking weird, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna go make a portrait of that guy. That's fun. And back and forth. It's great. A lot of fun.
If I live in a small town in San Pancho, and I say, okay, I wanna I wanna get to that client. Can it help me like raise a little bit? You know, like if I'm charging 5, can I get to the 8? Or it's all or nothing? You have to go crazy, and you have to keep traveling to the fancy cosmopolitan places.
No,
like,
I think again, like with any answer in life, there's nuance, right? There's layers to it. Because yes, if you're at say 3,000 or 4,000, you're not ready to just jump from there to 20, right? You don't have experience or any of the patterns yet. But yeah, I mean, there's always going to be a leap involved, right? If you're really yourself, if you're going from 5 to 8 or from 10 to 20, you should feel like, that's growth, right? It's that discomfort. So there's no way of shortcutting that, but I think there's a lot of answers there. I think some people are currently charging maybe 10, and they could easily go to 30, 40, 50. They have that brand equity already, and they just undervalue themselves so much, or they don't want it. But so I think there's a whole bunch of answers. That doesn't help you, but
and I would say that kind of what I was saying before is, like, if you become the leader in your market, whatever that looks like, right? Like if my market is San Pancho, and I know how many weddings are there and who the photographers are, what does that curve look like as far as who's charging what, and try to jump to the tail end of a pricing curve where, you know, I am the most expensive in San Pancho, and build that brand for a while, and then now I'm going to go, oh, Nayarit. I'm going to not just be the leader in San Pancho. I'm going to be the leader in all of Nayarit. What is that look like? Like, all of a sudden, opportunities start opening up, because you're like, oh, guess what properties are here in Nayarit? There's a One and Only, and an Auberge, and a Four Seasons. Like, I've never shot there before. Like, how do I get there and start understanding, okay, who in Nayarit is photographing those weddings, and what are they charging, and how do I get to that point? And then now you start looking at, well, maybe I want to travel all through Mexico. What is that like? So you can stair step this up, I think, depending on how far you want to take it. And because look, I live in a little town in Idaho, and I could easily just charge probably $10,000 a wedding and never leave here. Like, just shoot enough weddings, and I would be fine. But it's in my personality to constantly be pushing and constantly be uncomfortable.
Yeah. And I do live in San Pancho.
Beautiful.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Like my question was like this. So okay, I signed up for your group, for your workshop. Yes, I'm going to take all these lessons. I might not get there, but it can help me still improve my actual situation.
Absolutely.
No?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Because a lot of it is really just mindset, right?
Mm.
It's really it's the nuts and bolts of branding, marketing. Why am I reaching out? How am I reaching out? What's a brand? Is it just photos? What's copy? It's all of these things, right? And you can apply those at various levels. I wish I had something like this, like I said, 15 years ago. So I could have started out with the correct understanding as opposed to 10 years of running the wrong direction with it, being a frustrated artist and then going, oh, okay. Because now what it's done is getting better at business now allows us the freedom to be artists and not poor artists, not struggling artists, you know, like I can get back into the streets and documentary photography this year and take projects, you know, and because there's mind, there's headspace, because I'm not working myself to death anymore, you know, and there's means. So even I know this argument with the artist and making money is an old one. The artist, somehow we feel like we're betraying the artist by giving it up to money, you know, but there is a dance between the two. There really is.
Yeah.
In which the artist doesn't have to die. The artist does not have to die. Evil twin dies.
Yeah. And at certain point, did you consider like getting like an agent? You know, so say, okay, I suck at business. I don't want to get better at business, so I hire someone else. Do you think that could be an alternative for the mega creatives that they don't want to put their faces, or you have to be that guy?
I mean,
I personally don't think that that position really exists in the wedding world. There's a couple people doing it. One out of San Francisco that has 8 or 9, 10 photographers that she reps, but it's not the same as commercial and advertising photographer, where you can go to a rep and go, okay, I just want to work. I'll give you 50% of my earnings for you just to get me the work. I just want to shoot. I don't think it exists.
And we're big believers in hiring people, like specialists to do things for you. We really are. I think the biggest benefit that you would lose out on if you were to hire an agent is you would miss out on all the learning and understanding that comes from the process. Like when we started understanding our demographic and branding, the way we shoot changed, what we were looking for, and that informs the effectiveness of the whole thing, right? The way we started talking changed. Now, because if we just hired somebody and handed it off to them and we're just shooters, our behavior wouldn't have changed. We would have, you know what I mean? We would have acted inappropriately. We would have missed opportunities in the room. But because of all this branding and these ideas are in our heads, because we have to work it out. It's like in the gym, we have to work this out. You know, now we have the abs to go like, oh, I know how to act. I see an opportunity. And I think those things is what really compounds to success. I think.
So what's the promise of your offer, guys? I sign up, and what I'm gonna get if I sign up?
Well, I mean, what you're going to get is really all of our systems of how do I increase my price, and how do I go from wherever it is I am to wherever it is I want to go. Because literally I think we still talk about going further, but we've come a long way, right? And so we're really saying, here are all the tools, and then you have to put the work. We're not going to do the work. We can't do the work for you, but we will give you the tools. And if you follow those tools, we've proven over the last 8 years, it works 100%.
Yeah, so it's like we said, it's 76 lessons, and it's our journey from 0 to 7 figures a year annually, right? It's everything we've done, everything we're still doing. And I'll add 100% money back guarantee. So if it doesn't work for you, if you work the system and it doesn't work for you, there's no risk. We'll give you your money back. It really, like, it just works. It's not because it just works. It will work for you. This is what you want. If you're already living the dream like fair, nothing can make you happier, then there you are. Good for you. But if you're looking for something, yeah, this will work. It's market specific. All the advice we give is for the luxury market. I'll have to add that as well. But yeah, that's and a community around you to support you as you get into it as well. That's the other big thing we've developed with the Facebook group. And if you buy the course and you invest your time, there is this community around you taking the same walk, you know?
Yeah.
And it's a walk that we walked.
And the biggest perk is fairs in the community. So more access to fair.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I'm always reading the message and I'm like, shh, so many things that I have to keep working on. And it's that's the fun part for me. Like even after all these years, you're always gonna be a student.
Always.
So yeah, it's magic.